like Scottrade to the downtown hotels, all very accessible by public transit or walking. Our hotel footprint will extend across the river and all the way out into St. Charles, but delegates that are sent out there will have access to public transit to get into the city, and also they charge buses to get there. So we're not really concerned about the public transit aspect. I think that's going to be all right.
What challenges are we looking at other than raising the money? What other? Well,
the money situation, that's obviously really a big concern, because down the road we got to raise a lot of money to pay for this. And you don't use any. The state doesn't kick in any money for this. The city doesn't kick in any money for this. You have to raise private funds to pay for this convention. The Denver Host Committee had to raise upwards of $51 million to fund their convention. Now you do get some federal matching grants for security and things, but we're gonna raise that money. We're confident we can, but we don't really have to worry about that yet. We got to get selected first. We're just trying to get engaged right now. We're not trying to actually plan the wedding. So that's the first step, and then we will cross that fundraising bridge.
How much of Denver's money came from in-state and how much from out-of-state? Because we're all struggling for money in-state right now.
Right.
And I'd hate to start taking away money for this.
You're right. Well, the one thing about this convention is once you are selected, you basically have, the national donor base rallies around the host city. So in Denver, roughly 80% of the money was raised from outside of the Denver area, and 20% was raised in-state. There's this question of whether or not we're going to be able to take corporate dollars to help pay for this thing. Denver, they took a lot of corporate dollars because that was kind of before they started fundraising, before the Obama folks took over and said, it kind of changed the fund for the way that the party fundraises. So there's still some questions there, but this money is going to be raised nationally. Obviously, it wouldn't make a tremendous amount of sense if there would be less of an economic benefit if we had to raise all the money locally and spend it. So that's something we're very cognizant of. DNC has specific criteria down to what kind of laptops do we have to have for all the DNC employees, what type of cell phone, how many golf carts they need. Yeah,
that's not what I'm asking. But for being considered in the finals, what ultimately, so is the proposal just saying how you get to meet our criteria?
Sorry. Yes, the request for proposal, the RFP has, it's about an 80-page document of specifications we have to meet, and technically this city will meet all of those. We have the hotel rooms, we'll have them reserved, we have the facilities in place, and those are the two biggest hurdles, and we can meet all of those demands. So we'll be all right on paper. It's a matter of politics, and that's where this decision ultimately boils down to. Every city they invite to submit a bid, they kind of know beforehand these guys can meet the technical requirements. The real issue is, what's the map going to look like in this November? Is it going to make sense to have it here, or is it going to make sense to have it somewhere else? And that decision will be made by Tim Kaine and the president.
Chad, where are the other
The other cities that we know that are planning on submitting bids are Cleveland, Philadelphia, Tampa, and then we had heard Phoenix, but based on what's happening in Arizona, I have no idea. Those are the cities we know of.
What do you think is our biggest strength? Drawing the convention here, and then also the biggest
I think one of our biggest strengths right now is our politics. 2012 is going to be a big year here. We've got the governor on the ballot, we've got Claire McCaskill on the ballot, and obviously the president. And this is the White House and their team. They have a fondness for Missouri. This is the only swing state they didn't win. I know guys like David Plouffe would really like to win here. So I think that helps us right now. Biggest weakness is also our politics. People are very concerned about money. Some of the big races are concerned, well, if we're going to have to be raising all this money to pay for this convention, what about me, the candidate? So that's a concern. So it's politics both ways. Anything else? Mr. Woodruff?
We've had a bunch of speakers in here, and you're doing a damn good job. I hope you're giving this speech all across the city, because you're really self-defending. I'm impressed.
Well, we're trying. And thank you. We also need you guys to sell. So when people are talking about this convention, saying, St. Louis can't do this, St. Louis can't do that, reminded that we can do this, and that, the city's got to think big and dream big. We haven't had an event of this magnitude really ever. This is going to bring 100,000+ people into the city for a week. So let's rally behind this thing and support it. So thank you very much. If you guys have any other questions, you can always email me or
call me.
I'm Jack at citydems.org. That's the best way to get it. Thank
All
you.
right, thanks, Jack. We're actually going to talk about a item under new business, potential thing we can help market.